So the thing that I've been trying to work out is, with regards to, I've been reading up a lot or looking up a lot on the internet about manipulative techniques, and you know, uh, wrong side. Thought I'd try to mirror it. Anyway, the thing I've been trying to look up a lot on is manipulative techniques and how those are working, and how those are perceived. And I think people miss the boat, really. I think to a large extent people can be lumped into the same group, but by the same token, I think that it's a bit minimalistic to do so. I think from what I can gather, a lot of these things deal with, particularly these books, I haven't even read many of them, so I think I'm here to go on my own perspective on it. I think a lot of them focus on very simplistic, what they would consider scientific techniques to work things out, but I don't think it's that easy. I don't think... let's close that, it's going to irritate me. Why are you going so mad? Anyway, I don't think it's that easy, because from what I've seen, there's certain people for whom, or with whom, those simply don't work. You can try and convince yourself that they do, but they don't. Some people are complicated. And I think the only way that one is able to sincerely get through to those people is by really reflecting deep into the situation, by really working things out. Things aren't that simple. You can't use all the same techniques on all the people all the time. I think a lot of it comes down to you, who you are as a person, who you are as a character. So the more research I've been using, or looking at on YouTube, on these repetitive robotic techniques that people use, look, some of them work, some of them are applicable, but I've been dealing with a particularly complicated person as of late, and everything that I've considered to be appropriate behavior and everything I've considered to be worthwhile, something, things that to me make sense, none of it works. And of course my objective from the outset was not to be manipulative, but obviously at the end of the day one always wants to ensure that one maximizes, social proficiency, how one interacts with people. You want to make sure you get the best out of every situation. Everyone wants to do that, and yet we somehow throw the word, the way that these people describe it, emotional manipulation. They talk about narcissistic personalities and people who are, these are people with borderline sociopathic tendencies. I don't know how anyone, you can't use that. I mean, I'm single, I'm not in a relationship, but there's no ways in hell that I'm going to employ these, what I consider to be somewhat evil techniques in order to be with someone. That's just absolute rubbish. People are complex. People are complicated. You can't apply everything to every person and expect to get the same results. It's just not possible. That's just not the way that life works. It would be great if it did, And there is a lot of validity to it. There are a lot of things. Oh, come on, why did you change again? There are a lot of things that do work. So if you think this light's bugging you, imagine what's doing to me. Yeah, come on, change back. There we go. There are a lot of things that do work, but by the same token, there are a lot of things that don't. And I think I really think it's unfair to not only assume that all these things do work. Maybe statistically speaking, over whatever X percentile of people you're dealing with, then these techniques are applicable. That's fine. I'm not interested in those people. I'm not interested in the masses. I'm interested in the people who can accurately affect my life. And the people that they're talking about don't have a clue. The most important people that one meets are generally the more complicated ones. The ones with whom these let's move this slightly. With whom these techniques would not work. I think I've learned that the hard way. I think the thing to take out of it is to do everything you can to not be offended, to not take things personally. That's hard. Nobody teaches you that. Nobody teaches you, you read all these things, nobody actually, from what I can gather, there's no mention of other people and their psychological disposition at the time. People are going to be bastards to you no matter what you do. I don't consider it appropriate, but for some people I have no problem with it. I do. I wouldn't treat people like that, but the way that I treat people and the way that other people treat me are not at all the same thing. And I honestly feel the thing that I've learnt the most out of this is that as hard as it is, it's about, I wouldn't say compromising the ego, it's just about keeping the ego in check and realizing that the behavior that other people exhibit towards you, depending on the extremity of the situation, more often than not has actually very little to do with you. At the moment, I'm dealing with someone who has incredibly high standards, incredibly high standards, almost unrealistic standards of what they expect in people. And, sometimes it hurts, when one's constantly undermined and whatever. But to some extent, my reason for sticking around is because I'm getting something out of it. I'm getting a place to stay. It's saving me a lot of money. So yeah, I'm prepared to put up with the shit. But I'm also prepared to do everything I can not to take offense. What that person's saying. And I think what I've also learned is that if somebody is an aggressive character type, if somebody is that demanding of you and who you are and constantly makes you feel like you're not good enough or you're doing things wrong, whatever it may be, then you have to look at the end goal. You have to look at the implications of not being able to carry it out. And if you don't think it's worth it, then leave. But if you can't justify it in some way, shape, or form, then stick around. So that's where I am at the moment. Not easy, but I suppose the best things in life never are. And yet again, I repeat, it's inconvenient, but it's true.